My husband's podcast about our marriage problems went viral, and now his followers are sending me hate mail for ruining his content. My husband, Christopher, and I have been married for over 10 years, and like any couple, we've had our fair share of ups and downs. About a year ago, Christopher started a podcast where he talks about various topics, including our marriage, in an attempt to be more open and honest with his audience. At first, I was hesitant about being the subject of his podcast, but he assured me it would be a great way for us to work through our issues and help others who might be going through similar problems. The podcast started to gain traction, and people seemed to enjoy the raw, unfiltered conversations we were having. However, as time went on, I started to feel uncomfortable with the level of detail Christopher was sharing. It wasn't just about our marriage, it was about our intimate moments, our fights, and even our personal struggles. I expressed my concerns to him, but he just told me I was being too sensitive and that it was all part of the process. I tried to brush it off, thinking that maybe I was just being paranoid. That was until the podcast went viral. Suddenly, we were getting thousands of new listeners, and the comments section was filled with people sharing their own opinions about our marriage. Some were supportive, but many were cruel and judgmental. People started to take sides, with some saying I was the problem in the relationship, and others saying Christopher was the one who was screwed up. I tried to stay off social media, but it was hard to avoid the constant barrage of messages and comments. Christopher, on the other hand, seemed to be thriving on the attention. He loved being the center of attention, and the more controversial the podcast, the more popular it became. I started to feel like I was losing myself in all of this. I was no longer just a wife and a mother. I was a character in Christopher's podcast, and people were eating it up. Update 1. I had a huge fight with Christopher last night. I told him how I felt, how I was tired of being the subject of his podcast, and how I wanted him to stop sharing our personal business with the world. He got defensive, saying that I was ruining his content and that I was being selfish. He told me that the podcast was his passion project and that I was just being a buzzkill. I felt like he wasn't listening to me, like he didn't care about how I felt. I ended up storming out of the room, feeling angry and hurt. The next day, I saw that Christopher had posted a new episode of the podcast, and it was all about our fight. He talked about how I was being unreasonable and controlling, and how I was trying to stifle his creativity. I felt betrayed, like he was using our private conversations to get attention and sympathy from his listeners. I realized then that I needed to take a stand. I couldn't just sit back and let him continue to share our personal lives with the world. I decided to take matters into my own hands and started responding to some of the comments on social media. I wanted to set the record straight and show people that there were two sides to every story. But what I didn't expect was the backlash. People started sending me hate mail, telling me I was a horrible wife and that I was ruining Christopher's podcast. They said I was jealous of the attention he was getting and that I was trying to censor him. I was shocked, to say the least. I had never experienced anything like it before. Update 2. I've been trying to deal with the hate mail and the constant criticism, but it's taking a toll on me. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, never knowing when someone will lash out at me. I've tried to talk to Christopher about it, but he just tells me to toughen up and that it's all part of being in the public eye. He says that I need to develop a thicker skin and that I'm being too sensitive. But the thing is, I'm not just being sensitive, I'm being hurt. I'm being hurt by the constant barrage of negative comments and the feeling that I'm being attacked from all sides. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing myself in all of this. I'm starting to wonder if it's all worth it. Is the podcast really more important than our relationship? Is the attention and the fame really worth the cost to our mental health and our marriage? I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I can keep being the subject of his podcast, the villain in his story. I need to take care of myself, and if that means distancing myself from the podcast and the drama that comes with it, then so be it. Update 3. I've been thinking a lot about my role in all of this, and I've come to realize that I've been enabling Christopher's behavior. I've been allowing him to share our personal lives with the world, and I've been participating in the podcast, even when it made me uncomfortable. I've been trying to be a good wife and support his passion project, but in doing so, I've been sacrificing my own well-being. I've decided to take a step back and reevaluate our relationship. I need to prioritize my own needs and my own happiness. I need to figure out what I want and what I'm willing to tolerate. I've told Christopher that I don't want to be a part of the podcast anymore, and I've asked him to respect my boundaries. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know that I need to take care of myself. I deserve to be happy, and I deserve to be treated with respect. I'm not just a character in Christopher's podcast, I'm a real person with feelings and emotions. And I'm not going to let anyone, including my husband, diminish that.
My daughter wanted to become a doctor, so I spent her college fund on her education. Now my son is calling me unfair because he wants to be a YouTuber. I have two kids, a daughter named Maggie who is 20 years old, and a son named George who is 17 years old. My wife and I have been saving up for their college funds since they were born, and we have managed to put aside a substantial amount. When Maggie was in high school, she expressed her interest in becoming a doctor. She worked hard, got excellent grades, and even volunteered at a local hospital to gain experience. My wife and I were proud of her and decided to use her college fund to support her education. We sent her to a top-tier university, and she is currently in her third year of medical school. The cost is high, but we believe it's a worthwhile investment in her future. However, now my son George is in his senior year of high school, and he has been expressing his interest in becoming a YouTuber. He wants to create content around his passion for gaming and entertainment. While I think it's great that he has found something he is passionate about, I'm not sure if being a YouTuber is a stable or secure career path. George has been feeling frustrated because he feels that we are not supporting him in the same way that we supported his sister. He thinks that we are being unfair by not using his college fund to help him pursue his dreams. I understand where he is coming from, but I also think that he needs to understand the financial reality of our situation. We have already spent a significant amount of money on Maggie's education, and we can't afford to do the same for George. I've tried to explain this to him, but he doesn't seem to get it. He thinks that we are just not willing to support him because we don't believe in his dreams. I've told him that we will do our best to support him, but we can't just hand him a large sum of money to pursue a career that may not be secure. Update 1. I had a long conversation with George last night, and I think we are starting to understand each other's perspectives. He told me that he feels like we are not taking his career aspirations seriously, and that we are just dismissing his dreams without giving him a chance. I explained to him that we want to support him, but we also have to be realistic about the financial situation. I told him that we can't just give him a large sum of money to pursue a career that may not be stable. I suggested that he could try to build his YouTube channel on his own, and if it starts to gain traction, we can revisit the idea of investing in his career. He seemed to understand where I was coming from, but I could tell that he was still frustrated. I also talked to my wife about it, and we are considering getting him a small loan or a part-time job to help him get started. We want to support him, but we also don't want to enable him to pursue a career that may not be secure. I've been doing some research, and it seems like there are many ways for YouTubers to monetize their channels, such as ads, sponsorships, and merchandise sales. Maybe George can try to build his channel and see if he can make a living off of it. I just want him to be happy and successful, but I also want to make sure that he is making responsible decisions. Update 2. It's been a few weeks since I last spoke with George, and I've noticed that he has been working hard to build his YouTube channel. He has been creating content, engaging with his audience, and even collaborating with other YouTubers. I have to admit that I'm impressed with his dedication and passion. He has also been doing some research on how to monetize his channel, and he has started to apply for sponsorships and merchandise sales. I've been talking to my wife, and we are considering investing a small amount of money in his channel to help him get started. We are not going to give him a large sum of money, but we want to support him in any way we can. I've also been thinking about how we can help him develop a more stable career path. Maybe he can pursue a degree in marketing or communications and use his YouTube channel as a way to build his portfolio and network. I've talked to George about it, and he seems open to the idea. He knows that being a YouTuber may not be a stable career path, but he also wants to pursue his passion. I think we can find a way to balance his creative aspirations with the need for a stable career. Update 3. It's been a few months since George started building his YouTube channel, and I'm happy to report that it's been doing well. He has gained a significant following, and he has even started to make some money from ads and sponsorships. He has also been working hard to develop his skills as a content creator, and he has even started to collaborate with other YouTubers. I'm proud of him for pursuing his passion, and I'm happy to see that he is making progress. My wife and I have also been supporting him in any way we can. We've given him a small loan to help him invest in his channel, and we've even helped him to develop a business plan. I think we've found a good balance between supporting his creative aspirations and making sure that he has a stable career path. He's still in school, and he's still planning to pursue a degree in marketing or communications. But he's also building his YouTube channel, and he's learning valuable skills that will serve him well in the future. I'm just glad that we've been able to find a way to support him in a way that works for everyone. Update 4. It's been a year since George started building his YouTube channel, and I'm happy to report that it's been a huge success. He has gained a large following, and he has even started to make a living off of his channel. He has also been working hard to develop his skills as a content creator, and he has even started to collaborate with other YouTubers and brands. I'm proud of him for pursuing his passion, and I'm happy to see that he is making a success of it. My wife and I have also been supporting him in any way we can. We've helped him to develop a business plan, and we've even invested in his channel. I think we've found a good balance between supporting his creative aspirations and making sure that he has a stable career path. He's still young, and he's still learning, but I think he has a bright future ahead of him. I'm just glad that we've been able to find a way to support him in a way that works for everyone. Update 5. It's been a few years since George started building his YouTube channel, and I'm happy to report that it's been a huge success. He has gained a massive following, and he has even started to make a living off of his channel. He has also been working hard to develop his skills as a content creator, and he has even started to collaborate with other YouTubers and brands. I'm proud of him for pursuing his passion, and I'm happy to see that he is making a success of it. My wife and I have also been supporting him in any way we can. We've helped him to develop a business plan, and we've even invested in his channel. I think we've found a good balance between supporting his creative aspirations and making sure that he has a stable career path. He's still young, and he's still learning, but I think he has a bright future ahead of him. I'm just glad that we've been able to find a way to support him in a way that works for everyone. George has even started to give back to the community by creating content that helps and inspires others. He has become a role model for many young people, and I couldn't be prouder of him. I'm just grateful that we've been able to support him on his journey and help him achieve his dreams.
My daughter's teacher is failing her because I refused to date him after meeting at parent-teacher conferences. Now the principal won't help. I'm at my wit's end, and I don't know what to do. My daughter, Emily, is a junior in high school, and she's always been a great student. She's never had any problems with her grades or her behavior until this year when she got Mr. Miles as her math teacher. At first, everything seemed fine. Emily would come home and talk about what she learned in class, and she seemed to be enjoying herself. But then, things started to change. Emily began to come home from school upset and frustrated, telling me that Mr. Miles was being really hard on her and that she just couldn't seem to understand the material. I told her to talk to Mr. Miles about it, to ask him for extra help, but she said that every time she tried to, he would just brush her off and tell her that she needed to study harder. I decided to attend the parent-teacher conferences to see what was going on and to talk to Mr. Miles about Emily's struggles. When I met Mr. Miles, I was taken aback. He was younger than I expected, probably in his mid-20s, and he seemed really full of himself. He told me that Emily was a great student, but that she just wasn't living up to her potential. He said that she needed to apply herself more and that she was being lazy. I was taken aback by his attitude, and I told him that I disagreed. I told him that Emily was a hard worker and that she was just having a tough time with the material. He smirked at me and told me that I was just being a typical overprotective parent. I was furious, but I tried to keep my cool. After the conference, Mr. Miles asked me if I wanted to grab a cup of coffee with him to discuss Emily's progress further. I was hesitant at first, but I thought that maybe it would be a good opportunity to talk to him more about Emily's struggles. So I agreed. We met at a coffee shop a few days later, and Mr. Miles proceeded to hit on me. He told me that he thought I was really attractive and that he would love to take me out on a date. I was shocked, and I told him that I wasn't interested. I told him that I was only there to talk about Emily's education and that I wasn't looking for a romantic relationship. He seemed taken aback, but he tried to play it cool. He told me that he understood and that he would respect my boundaries. But, as soon as I left the coffee shop, I knew that something was off. Emily started to come home from school more and more upset. She told me that Mr. Miles was being really mean to her and that he was making her life miserable. She said that he would make snide comments about her in front of the class and that he would ignore her when she tried to ask for help. I knew that I had to do something, so I scheduled a meeting with the principal. I told her everything that had happened, from the parent-teacher conference to the coffee shop. I told her about how Mr. Miles had been treating Emily, and I asked her to do something about it. But, to my surprise, she just brushed me off. She told me that Mr. Miles was a great teacher and that he was just trying to push Emily to be her best. She said that I was being too sensitive and that I needed to let Emily learn to deal with difficult teachers. I was furious. I told her that I knew what I had experienced and that I knew that Mr. Miles was being unprofessional. But she just wouldn't listen. Update 1. It's been a few weeks since I met with the principal and things have only gotten worse. Emily is now failing Mr. Miles' class and she's becoming more and more withdrawn. She doesn't want to go to school anymore and she's lost all interest in her studies. I've tried to talk to her about it, to get her to open up, but she just won't. I've also tried to talk to Mr. Miles again to see if we can resolve this issue, but he just won't return my calls. I've even gone to the school board, but they just keep telling me that they can't do anything because Mr. Miles is a great teacher. I'm at my wits' end. I don't know what to do or who to turn to. I just want my daughter to be happy and to succeed, but it seems like no one cares. I've started to think that maybe I should just homeschool Emily, but I don't know if that's the right decision. I'm so torn and I don't know what to do. Update 2. I've been doing some research, and I've found out that Mr. Miles has a history of this kind of behavior. There are several other parents who have come forward and said that he's been inappropriate with them and that he's been bullying their kids. I've also found out that the school administration has been covering for him because they don't want to lose a good teacher. I'm so angry and I don't know what to do. I've scheduled a meeting with the school superintendent, and I'm going to present all of the evidence that I've found. I'm going to make sure that Mr. Miles is held accountable for his actions and that he's fired. I'm also going to make sure that the school administration is held accountable for covering for him. I'm not going to let them get away with this. Update 3. I met with the school superintendent yesterday, and I presented all of the evidence that I've found. I told him about Mr. Miles' history of inappropriate behavior and about the school administration's cover-up. He seemed shocked, and he told me that he would do everything in his power to make sure that Mr. Miles is held accountable. He said that he would investigate the matter and that he would take disciplinary action if necessary. I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope that this is the beginning of the end of this nightmare. I'll keep you all updated on what happens next. Update 4. It's been a few weeks since I met with the school superintendent, and I haven't heard anything. I've been trying to follow up with him, but he won't return my calls. I'm starting to get worried that nothing is going to happen. I've also been noticing that Emily is starting to get her confidence back. She's been doing better in school, and she's started to enjoy her studies again. I'm not sure if it's because Mr. Miles has backed off or if it's because she's just learning to deal with him. Either way, I'm just glad to see her happy again. I'm still going to keep fighting for justice, though. I'm not going to let Mr. Miles get away with what he's done. Update 5. I just got a call from the school superintendent, and he told me that Mr. Miles has been fired. He said that the investigation found that Mr. Miles had indeed been engaging in inappropriate behavior and that he had been bullying students. He apologized for the way that the school administration had handled the situation, and he promised that they would do everything in their power to prevent something like this from happening again. I'm relieved, but I'm also angry. I'm angry that it took so long for something to be done, and I'm angry that the school administration tried to cover it up. I'm just glad that Emily can finally move on from this and that she can start to heal. I'm also glad that Mr. Miles is no longer in a position to hurt anyone else. Update 6. It's been a few months since Mr. Miles was fired and Emily is finally starting to thrive again. She's doing well in school and she's started to enjoy her studies again. She's also started to open up more, and she's talking about her feelings and her experiences. I'm so proud of her, and I'm so grateful that she's okay. I've also been thinking about what I can do to help other parents who may be going through something similar. I've started to talk to other parents, and I've started to realize that this is a much bigger problem than I thought. There are so many teachers and school administrators who are engaging in inappropriate behavior and who are bullying students. I've decided to start a support group for parents who are going through this, and I've started to reach out to other parents to see if they're interested. I'm hoping that we can make a difference and that we can create a safer and more supportive environment for all students. Update 7. I just wanted to update everyone on what's been going on. The support group that I started has been going well, and we've had a lot of parents reach out to us for help. We've also been working with the school district to try to create policies and procedures to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. It's been a lot of work, but it's been worth it. I'm just glad that we can make a difference and that we can help to create a safer and more supportive environment for all students. I'm also glad that Emily is finally able to put this behind her and move on. She's a strong and resilient kid, and I know that she'll be okay. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported us through this. It's meant a lot to us, and it's helped us to get through this difficult time. My sister stole my identity to take out student loans, then dropped out of college and declared bankruptcy under my name. I'm still trying to process how my own sister could do something so hurtful and devastating to me. We've always had a complicated relationship, but I never thought she was capable of something like this. It started when I received a letter in the mail from a student loan company congratulating me on my acceptance to a local college. I was confused because I had never applied to the college, and I certainly hadn't taken out any student loans. I immediately called the loan company to clarify the situation. And that's when I found out that someone had used my social security number to take out a substantial loan in my name. I was shocked and felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The loan company told me that the loan had been originated several months ago and that the payments were already in default. I knew I had to act fast to clear my name and prevent any further damage to my credit. I started by filing a police report and contacting the Federal Trade Commission to report the identity theft. I also placed a fraud alert on my credit reports and began the process of disputing the loan with the lender. But as I dug deeper, I discovered that the situation was even more complicated than I had initially thought. It turned out that my sister had not only taken out the loan in my name, but she had also used my identity to enroll in the college and attend classes for several months. She had even used my name to apply for and receive a grant, which she had apparently used to fund her own personal expenses. I was stunned. How could my own sister do something so deceitful and hurtful? I felt like I was living in a nightmare, and I didn't know how to wake up. I tried to contact my sister, but she refused to respond to my calls and messages. I was left with no choice but to take matters into my own hands and try to clean up the mess she had made. Update 1. I finally heard back from the college, and they confirmed that my sister had indeed enrolled in classes using my name. They also told me that she had dropped out of school after only a few months, without ever making a payment on the loan. I was furious. How could she be so reckless and irresponsible with my identity? I demanded that the college take immediate action to correct their records and remove my name from any association with my sister's actions. They apologized for the mistake and promised to cooperate fully with the investigation. But just as I thought things were starting to look up, I received another devastating blow. The loan company contacted me to inform me that my sister had declared bankruptcy under my name, which meant that my credit score was now in jeopardy. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. How could one person cause so much damage to my life? I knew I had to act fast to prevent any further harm, so I hired a lawyer to help me navigate the complex process of clearing my name and restoring my credit. It's been a long and difficult journey, but I'm determined to see it through and make sure that my sister is held accountable for her actions. Update 2. I had a breakthrough in my case this week. My lawyer discovered that my sister had used a fake email address and phone number to communicate with the loan company and the college. We were able to track down the IP address associated with the email account, and it led us to a coffee shop in our hometown. The coffee shop had security cameras, and we were able to obtain the footage. When we reviewed the video, we saw my sister using the computer and email account in question. It was clear proof that she was behind the identity theft, and we were finally able to take our evidence to the authorities. The police department opened a formal investigation, and my sister was questioned about her involvement. She denied everything, of course, but the evidence against her was overwhelming. The police told me that they would be filing charges against her, and that I would have the opportunity to press charges as well. I'm still trying to decide what to do. Part of me wants to see my sister punished for what she's done, but another part of me just wants to move on and put the whole ordeal behind me. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm determined to rebuild my life and restore my credit. Update 3. The investigation is still ongoing, but I've been working hard to rebuild my credit and restore my identity. It's been a long and difficult process, but I'm finally starting to see some progress. The loan company has agreed to remove the default from my credit report, and the college has corrected their records to reflect that my sister was the one who enrolled in classes using my name. I've also been working with a credit counselor to dispute the bankruptcy filing and prevent it from causing any further damage to my credit score. It's been a challenge, but I'm determined to come out of this situation stronger and more resilient than ever. I've also been reflecting on my relationship with my sister and trying to understand why she felt the need to steal my identity. I realize that our complicated past and her own personal struggles may have contributed to her actions, but that doesn't excuse what she's done. I'm still trying to decide whether to press charges against her, but I know that I deserve justice and closure. I'll continue to update this story as more information becomes available, and I appreciate all the support and encouragement I've received from the Reddit community. Update 4. I've been thinking a lot about my relationship with my sister and how it's been affected by her actions. We've always had a complicated history, but I never thought it would come to this. I've been trying to process my emotions and figure out how to move forward. I've decided to seek therapy to help me work through my feelings and come to terms with what's happened. I'm also considering reaching out to my sister and trying to have a conversation with her about what she's done. I'm not sure if she'll be receptive, but I feel like I need to try to understand why she felt the need to steal my identity. I'm still unsure about whether to press charges, but I know that I need to take care of myself and prioritize my own well-being. I'll continue to update this story as I navigate this difficult situation. Update 5. I had a breakthrough in therapy this week. I realized that I've been carrying around a lot of guilt and shame about what happened, and it's been weighing me down. My therapist helped me to see that I'm not responsible for my sister's actions, and that I deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. I've been working on building my self-esteem and developing healthier boundaries with my sister. I've also been thinking about how to move forward and rebuild my life. I've decided to focus on my own goals and aspirations and to prioritize my own happiness. I'm still unsure about whether to press charges, but I know that I need to take care of myself and do what's best for me. I'll continue to update this story as I navigate this difficult situation.